Hello, everyone. Hello. Sorry, let me just share out this thing. Oh, look, 20 waiting. Well, good, you're in luck because we're about to deliver. Hi, everyone. Okay, let me just do this new thing. I'm just tweeting this out. I love these very decisive openings.
Yeah, always ready to go.
Also, I'm writing like my whatever. Nick_Brana. I can never find his name when I'm doing it. Okay, now I did. Of People's Convention. Okay, here we go. Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, that was a good workout for my arms. Yeah, so today we're going to have, people are here, right? Okay, great. No comments. That's weird. Okay, yes, we got right in time. Joe Sands making a very good comment. It's such a good comment that we'll read it even though it's not a super chat. Just kidding. Just kidding. Also, Microsoft Word technical support. Thank you for saying cool. Love these streams. Cool spelled with a K. So on today's show, we have Nick Brana, who basically is one of the people behind the People's Convention. And we talked about that a little bit on Sunday, and people were giving me so much shit, which I really shouldn't reward by responding to, but they were, because the stream happened right after the People's Convention, and we had Marianne Williamson on it, and she talked about it a little bit, but we talked more generally about politics, and this was a big deal. A lot of leftists.
How was Marianne?
Great. It was the second time I've had her on.
Is she cool?
And she's really funny, and she's
got like a beautiful voice.
Oh yeah, she does have a beautiful voice, and she tells great. Is that like? That's like, she's a really pretty face.
No, well, she's an attractive woman.
Yeah, she is. I know.
I don't want to objectify her.
Right. Don't objectify. It is funny. You can totally objectify.
I find her to be a totally attractive woman.
Yeah. TAW, a taw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to go at the same time as Jimmy Dore moving forward. There was a conflict that we'll get into. In fact, maybe we'll talk about this later, but I don't want to do that. And usually we won't. Today is Nando's birthday though, and he needed us to move it. No, but yeah. I'm not going to do it. In fact, we are either going to do it at 9 if Nando can do that. Although who knows?
I'll be better in the future. Just the past couple weeks, the past few weeks have been bad for me.
So what do you guys prefer? 9 p.m. on Wednesdays and Sundays, or 7 p.m. if you can do this, Nando, on Thursdays and Sundays?
Maybe 7 p.m.
Yeah, okay. So for you, then we'll do Thursdays. But then it's not very nighttime for you because you're in California.
I know, but that's precisely why it's easier for me.
Oh, because you have a life.
Yes.
Right. I mean, yeah, I do too, kind of, but not as much. Are you open about your personal stat? No, let's keep that a mystery.
No, I mean, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, everyone thinks I'm gay, so.
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't mean you're partnered or not. So we'll leave that as mystery. So, yeah. All right. So, all right. We won't make you choose between Jimmy and Katie after this tonight. So let's see. We're going to have Nick Brana on, which is very exciting. And we have some stories we're going to get to. But first I wanted to do, I say this all the time that I want to do like live tweeting. And I saved this tweet that I was going to engage in that I came upon. That sounded funny, like a little ESL-ish. So let me just share this. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all. Nando, both of your parents are ESL.
They are. I'm ESL, I guess, technically.
Oh, yeah, I guess you are, yeah.
I learned Spanish before I learned English.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, English, I speak better English now than I do Spanish, but, I'm still technically ESL.
Okay, so we're going to do a little, this is so annoying. I can't screen share without saying I'm doing it. It is so annoying. I find myself unbearable, and it's me. So you guys must be really annoyed when I do that. Click here, do a screen share. All right, so first we're going to watch this video that friend of the show, Rania Khalek, did, which is getting a lot of eyeballs on it, as it should.
The election.
Okay. All right.
You're going to have to vote.
All right. Okay. Could you hear that when I was playing that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit. All right. Let me raise it a little. Okay. Like a little bit of it was played, or like it's low volume?
Yeah, a little bit was. No, a little bit was played.
Okay, good. All right.
Do people like my three Harrison's Ford shirt?
Oh, what is it? I thought you said free Harrison Ford. We should start that as a cause, though.
Blade Runner, Indiana Jones, Star Wars.
Which is your fave?
Star Wars.
All right, cool. Did you
I have a Star Wars tattoo.
Oh yeah, but that means nothing. You people have so many tattoos.
Dancing.
Did you? Oh my god! Did you retweet this? What if you have a baby? What are you going to tell your baby?
I tweeted.
Okay, great. All right. So
what if I have a baby? What are you like? What are you born in like the 40s? What?
You're gonna be like, and here, let me pick you up, and you can stare at this guy's dick.
And the baby will be like, "That's great."
You're right. I should not kink shame or sex shame your future baby. So ox. All right. So, yeah, you people. When I say you people, I mean Spaniards. I love that. Yeah. I can totally say that.
We're an oppressed class. We're an oppressed class. You know,
yeah.
We're POC.
I mean, I couldn't say that like 50 years ago.
Right.
But I can say that now. Yeah. I think. I mean, the joke is that there's nothing to you people him about, but I can since Arturo Marchante Jr. asked. It's funny. I could if you were Latin American or Latinx, I wouldn't be able to say you people.
No. But I am an oppressor class.
Exactly, as Lumpia Logic pointed out. No, the Spaniards were colonizers. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I'm an oppressing class.
Por eso. Thank God you guys didn't.
We do colonization. We do colonization. We take the silver from you people. This is
oh my God. Spaniards are so good at just like not giving a shit and just making words up. Like they're latifundists.
Yes.
What is that? Landowners in Spanish? Yeah.
Well, it's not in Spanish, but yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, yeah. It's like a Latin word, kind of Spanishified. I would say. I mean, I guess all Spanish words are not all of them, but most of them.
Right, but isn't that used in like history?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
You're like you only want original Spanish. I think you'd have to go to Basque for that, my friend.
Well, they don't speak Spanish. They speak Basque.
I know.
A language that has no known provenance. It looks like the aliens. That's the most underrated case for aliens, that they came and taught the Basques in the caves a language that comes from nowhere. That has no linguists have no idea where it comes from, how it came about. It has no roots. It has no, it's kind of a crazy thing.
Yeah, you're right. By the way, we got Kelly Carey, who thinks she's in a press class. Friend of the show.
Someone said that they're from Puerto Rico, and I'm not an imperialist, so I get a pass. That's good.
Oh, you got points. So Kelly says that Katie is her oppressor. Yeah. And that makes her a member of the press class. Everyone say hi to Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Who makes this happen? She does. Free Kelly. All right, I'll free her at the end of the show. Latifundia. Yeah, it does refer to plantations, but I remember seeing a documentary in the Spanish filmmaker in the States was like, they are latifundios. They are all latifundios. Like, I always am asking for the translation. If I like remotely don't know a word, and the Spaniards are very good. He's a Bambi. They call them Zapatero. It's a Bambi. Zapatero. Yeah. All right, so let's watch this video of Rania Khalek, friend of the show, journalist, frequently censored by Facebook and Twitter.
All around badass chick.
Yes, all around badass chick. BAC. By the way, we should have like a listicle of lessons from this show. So for our first lesson, can someone write this down? Our first lesson is, or hot take is, Basque UFOs underrated.
Underrated.
Yeah. The Basques as evidence of UFOs is underrated. Okay.
Yeah. They also have AB negative blood, which is the rarest blood type.
Wow.
Very weird. Do? Yeah. They like my grandmother came from that region, sort of like her family. And she had AB negative blood, which is like the rarest blood type, apparently. I don't know, I'm not an expert. But the Basques are like a weird thing. It's just like a mystery. They're so mysterious. And they have amazing food up there. I don't know if you've ever been, Katie. I know you are a Spanish file. What would you call it?
Iberophile. What is it?
Yeah, something like that. I know you're hot on the Spaniards.
Yeah, I won't say anything. Oh, this is just a very PG thing. It's Etarra. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, Tarra. Yeah, like a Basque terrorist from
Yeah.
Eta. You made out with one?
Yeah, I mean, this is a long time ago. Honestly, I'm being really offensive.
Was
I don't
he
know.
active in Ep? Was he active in
I don't
Eta?
know. He was just what is it? Basque? He was just
Euskadi.
Euskadi. So my joke, which I didn't make in front of him, was that he was that.
Right. It's like you make out with an Irishman and he's an IRA.
IRA, yeah. That would be so funny. I should go through all of the nationalities.
Yeah, you make out with a Palestinian and he's
PLO.
PLO.
Or Hamas.
Or Hamas.
But
or
I would say
Lebanese.
Hamas to Hamas. That means never in Spanish. Yeah. Lebanese, you got whatchamacallit? The name's escaping me. Hezbollah. Yeah. Now, here's the real trivia, guys. What would a person from Tajikistan be? Someone needs to look up a Tajikistani freedom fighting party. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. All right. So let's go to Rania. That was a great chat, though. It's like the best chat.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. And I don't know if I've been to San Sebastian. Is that Basque?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. I've been there then. There you go.
And someone said, I've never been to Spain, but I kind of like the music. That is a song.
Really?
Yeah, that's a song. Well, I never been to Spain.
Who sings it?
It's like Three Dog Night or one of these kind of like 60s bands. Oh, weird. Let me look it up.
Oh, Kelly, how long am I allowed to play of this video? You think I'm in a press class? How long am I to play? Nando, look for Zirin's interview of Howard Bryant. He maintains basketball players strike not as radical as we thought.
Okay.
Were you tweeting about this, Nando?
It was Three Dog Night. I did my Jacobin commentary.
Oh, I saw that actually. Yeah, you're right. Okay, we'll get to that. I gotta have David Zirin on. Zirin or Zirin? I don't know.
Well, I never maintained that it was radical. But
oh my God. And Obama. So Obama came out to convince them not to do that, right?
Yeah. He did his Obama thing where he's like, I'm a community organizer and look, here's the deal.
I mean, he did his we'll get to the Ronnie thing in a second. We got to give this justice. So let's just go over what Obama comes out of his where does he live? Like, I don't know.
Obama? He got a house like in Nantucket, right?
Yeah.
Or Martha's Vineyard, one of those places. Like a $12 million house.
Yeah. So what does he leave his $12 million house to do?
Destroy Bernie.
Stop Bernie.
Stop Keith Ellison.
Stop Keith Ellison. Like go windsurfing with Richard.
Kite surfing with Richard Branson.
Couch surfing with Richard. What's his last name? Branson. Wait, couch. What did I just say? What surfing? I haven't even had
couch surfing.
I said that, but that's not what I meant.
What do you mean? Oh, you said windsurfing, right?
Right. Or skydiving. Yeah. Which one was it though? Was that skydiving?
I think you went like jet skiing with Richard Branson.
All right. Someone tell us in the chat.
Surfing.
Tell us in the chat and show us a photo. And actually, no. So the video I want to show is Rania's video, and it's by what is the company called, which got blacklisted? It's In the Now. So I think they'll let me show it. Honestly, I don't think they'll go after me for copyright. Who knows? But I really doubt it because I think they want as much exposure as they can get, and they're suing Facebook. So I'll sue them if they go after me. It wouldn't be a good look for them to object to an ally. Hold on one second. I'm just looking for my Obama listicle. Friend of the show. Don't know if I can reveal this or not, but I'll reveal it. And I don't know if I can quote him, but by name. But let's see. Where is it that he had Obama? The things that Obama stopped. It was really funny. Crap. 1 second, guys. By the way, shout out to Ed Markey. Big time. Glad he beat Joe Kennedy.
Yeah, that felt good.
Morse loss did not feel good.
No, but that was more kind of in the cards, I feel like. You know, it's just it's hard. It was harder. I mean, Richard, it's harder for him.
I know. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That he came that close.
And I think that, like it's hard. It's going to be impossible to know how much the fake sex scandal affected, but I think it probably was decisive in these kind of things because these people need kind of constant momentum, and so many left activists kind of abandoned him right away in the crucial moment when it's like you need to get this off the ground. Yeah, so if someone gets nipped in the bud like that, it's everything that the left needs to play like a perfect game, kind of from beginning to end, in order to unseat a powerful incumbent like Richard Neal, who was the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee.
Incredibly powerful. Okay, sorry.
But yeah, Markey felt good.
Yeah. So okay, here's Obama. Obama crawls out of his mansion for what? To stop Bernie, to stop the NBA, to stop Keith Ellison. But where was he on kids in cages, the Muslim ban, and all the rest? Good question. And we hope you're watching, President Obama, so you can answer that question.
He is probably watching.
He is probably, yeah. All right. So now let's go to the Rania video.
I don't see it.
Oh, sorry. I didn't do the screen share. Okay, now do you see it?
Yes.
All right.
Bernie lost, so you're going to have to vote for us. Okay, but can we get some Medicare for all? No. How about an end to the wars? No. Free college? Okay, less money for cops. Well, we can teach them to shoot you in the leg instead of the heart.
Okay, that's a Joe Biden reference, right? Does everyone get that? Joe Biden reference?
Yep.
Okay. So apparently I can't play the rest of it right now because of copyright stuff. But here's the thing. You guys get that? It's making fun of leftists versus libs.
Yeah.
And it did very well, the tweet.
Yeah.
But I saw it because this guy, who tweeted it out was Aaron Rupar, who's at like Vox, of course. So he tweets this out: owning the libs with literal Russian propaganda. That's his response to Ryan Knight, right? So here's what I wanted to know. I was going to quote tweet this. Should we do this? A live quote tweeting?
Yeah.
Is quote tweeting very gauche? I know I should just write it underneath it, but what do we think?
Quote tweet it.
Okay. So here's the thing. Here's what I was thinking. Like, should we, if we fight for Medicare for all, is that letting the Russians win?
No.
And here's the bigger question. Shouldn't this guy be really upset or concerned? Like this, if let's say this is a Russian thing, because there's a private woman who owns the company that Rania works for, and there's a total double standard because they have to label it as Russian state-run media. No one else has to do that. Like the BBC doesn't have to do that. In fact, I interviewed Rania about it. It's good. You can check it out. But
Televisión Española.
Televisión Española, por supuesto. Yeah. But here's the thing. Let's say that this is good propaganda for Russia. You know how the Dems could avoid this? By being fucking for Medicare for all.
Like, did you see Joe Biden today came out? It was in the New York Times. He came out with a national ad condemning like rioting and looting. And,
we got to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he also said that like, I don't want to defund the police. Trump wants to defund the police. And, he said, he's just like kind of clearly moving to the right, at least rhetorically, it's not like it's just to claim that it's Russian propaganda, that there's kind of a left right base of the Democratic Party at this point that like wants things like Medicare for all and the Green New Deal as kind of basic reforms is just, it's insane to like, it's as fake news as any like
right
Alex Jones thing, it's liberal fake news.
Yeah, and also the Dems can only be owned. But even if it were true, right? Let's just say the Dems could avoid being owned by this by actually supporting a very popular program.
Yeah, and they also like, these people like the libs like to talk about like, just because they're not there, as if it's like a process that you need to like some sort of form of self-actualization to support kind of basic things that would help people's lives. You know what I mean? Like, like if that person's not for this, then you're gonna like martyr, like you're gonna kill them. And it's like as if like advocating for these things requires like, you know, it's like working out or, you know, or some sort of thing that you need to like get to, but you haven't quite gotten to, you know, and it's just, that's just not how it is at all.
No, you could fight for it.
You could just do it.
So wait, I thought I had a good idea to tweet, but now I don't know if I do. Like, what should it be? There's something there about letting, like, should we got to oppose Medicare for all, or we let the Russians win?
Yeah, something like that. Someone said I ignored the question, but I don't know. I don't know what the question was.
You were, well, the question is what I should tweet.
Oh, we'll tweet whatever.
I like
it. You're the funny one.
No, but there's something there. I'm tired, but there's something there with like, oh, that's good. Owning the libs with policies that would help Americans, but it's not owning the lib. Oh,
no, it's like helping Putin, like letting Putin win by, you know, saving American.
Right,
you know,
right.
like,
yeah, that's actually good. If you
when LBJ passed the Medicare in 1965, it was actually a huge victory for Nikita Khrushchev or whoever was it, Brezhnev. You know,
what did he pass? The
Medicare, the first Medicare.
Is that who did it?
Yeah. A huge victory for Brezhnev. No, he didn't pass Medicare for all, just the regular Medicare.
Oh, okay, sorry.
The existing current Medicare was passed by LBJ,
but that doesn't totally work because I kind of want to establish, like, even if there were Russians saying, you know what, we'll get back to it. I'm sorry. I thought I had a great tweet. It turns out I don't.
Yeah, well.
That was probably the most anticlimactic. I'll take suggestions. But, yeah. LBJ established Medicare. The Russians want to give us help there. Yeah. It's just like, why not be mad at the fucking Dems for not supporting this? I don't understand. Like, even if I would support Medicare for all if it were Hezbollah, Hamas.
It would be hilarious if Hezbollah like published like a thing like Americans need Medicare for all.
What if I do?
And then the libs are like, oh, you're gonna give in to Hezbollah's demands?
Yeah. I should say, what is the should I say I'd support Medicare for all even if the Taliban wanted it?
Yeah.
Or is that like that's like the best argument against us? Anyway, all right. We'll have to come back to that. Back to it. I have like comedic and intellectual and political blue balls now. It's like very, very frustrating.
Blue balls?
Yeah. Comedic, intellectual blue balls, I said.
Because you thought you
yeah, because it's like it's
about to come.
No, there's a frustration. There's like and that's a myth, obviously. We can get into that another time. But it is really fucking annoying.
Totally a myth.
Well, but here's the thing.
It can happen.
Well, it's how painful is it?
It's like it's only happened to me like maybe 6 or 7 times in my life, but it's quite uncomfortable. It's not like painful, it's just uncomfortable.
Yeah, uncomfortable. All right. Well, anyway,
that's how my blue balls experience is for all you people.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So okay, so let's get to some stories, and then we're gonna figure out how to own Arun Rupar. So let's get to some stories. What should we start with? Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. We got a Pelosi story. We'll start with the Dems, then we'll work our way down to Trump. 1 second, please. This is a pretty good one. All right. Did you hear about Pelosi going into a salon?
Yeah. It's great.
Okay, it's a great one, right? All right. Why are there now advertisements in
what, YouTube?
In front of before at Twitter videos. Hold on. This is the Hill. Okay, hold on. Okay. Oh, I almost said it, but I'm not saying it. I almost said it. Okay, opening a window. Oh, okay. What?
I feel your question for an opportunity.
No, Speaker Pelosi, I think
an opportunity to say
there's more to this that I'm not going into as to the motivation of a salon to say to me, yes, come in, and then they go from there. It was clearly a setup. I take responsibility only for a setup by a neighborhood salon that I've owned to 4 years. And that's really what it is. So again, I think we should use it as an opportunity to say there's so many people. I don't know where you all get your hair cut or whatever it is, but we have a wealth of people who are engaged in these services. And within the state and the city, depending on the incidence of infection.
Is she signing?
Decide how they will function. If the salon is saying that we're able to do this, and they're not, then they should not have said that, and they should not have been open to go there. But we trusted a neighborhood salon that I've been to for years. Any other
Speaker,
questions?
I do have a question about the Families First Act and the Hero
Okay.
Act.
So,
for all the parents out there
yeah. Apparently Nancy Pelosi went to a salon and she did not wear a mask. But she's saying that the salon set her up.
Yeah. Well, no, it's also that the salon is supposed to be closed, like
right.
because of like a city ordinance or whatever. And
right.
She went. You know, it's just like one of those stupid things. Like, who gives a shit? But it's just like one of those kind of like giant gifts to Republicans. You know that the libs love to do because they like the way they talk about things like wearing a mask and stuff is like so off-putting because it's so like kind of lecturing and moralizing and stuff like that. And it's why everyone hates libs, you know. So then when someone like Nancy Pelosi, who is probably the most hated lib in the country outside of Hillary, when she does something like that, it's just like a gift.
Right.
Just like her endorsement of Joe Kennedy was just a huge gift to Markey.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. No, it's like,
you know, a right wing.
I'm thinking about like what you were talking about the you know, the Dems supporting, they could just support Medicare for all. Like, I think that was, you know, the Markey race is kind of indicative of a lot in that every single Democrat outside of like Bernie in my lifetime, whenever he or she is attacked from the right, their instinct is to move right. Like, I mean, we're seeing Joe Biden do that right now in real time. Like, he's attacked from the right, and then his instinct is to just go more right. I remember John Kerry in 2004, when there was just widespread disgust at the war in Iraq. His response was to just try to outflank Bush on the right on Iraq. And it just never works. And Markey, what he did, and Markey's just like a kind of a standard progressive-ish Dem. But when he's attacked from the right, he moves left pretty dramatically, right? I mean, he just goes like, no, I'm with all these young people who support. I'm, you know, I may have done all these bad things in the past, but I am going to be unabashedly for Green New Deal, Medicare for all that stuff. Yeah. And he wins, you know, and he actually mobilizes a base, which is all what presidential elections are these days, is mobilizing the base. Like, it was true in the kind of conventional wisdom back in the day, somewhat like in the 1960s and stuff, that you won elections kind of in the middle. That's just like sort of true. But these days, elections in the middle is just death, you know, and we've seen candidate after candidate just fall on his face by moving to the middle, whether it was, you know, Mitt Romney, Hillary Clinton, John Kerry, you know, like the sort of centrist option always falls on his face. Whereas the riskier, quote unquote, riskier options like Trump, Obama, they are the ones that win. So yeah, the Markey thing should be a lesson for Dems, but they're not going to take it. You know, it should be a lesson for Joe Biden, and he's not going to take it. But you're going to keep moving to the right, which is going to continue to narrow the polls. And he may win in a squeaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Pelosi coming full circle. Health, Medicare for all. This was a risk and a threat. I'm trying to thread the needle here. But I like what you're saying.
You know?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
a delay.
It's just hilarious that Pelosi It's just hilarious that Pelosi endorsed Kennedy and they lost. It's great. It's just
also what I thought her shtick is that you don't endorse insurgents.
She's full of shit. Yeah,
she should get blackmailed now, like the way she did for AOC.
Or blacklisted.
No, I would actually like her to be blackmailed as well. In fact, if you got this video come out,
you got access to Nancy Pelosi's nudes.
Well, I have access to her going into a salon. Do you guys want to see her going to the salon? It's not, I mean, honestly, it's not the worst thing that she's done, but it is kind of like, come on, guys. Like, why are you giving the Republicans such easy fodder? Oh, that's me and you. Okay. So let's see. What else do we have? We have some other stories to look at. Let me just close some of these windows. Yeah, what is up with that? So I am curious, though, how they got her, how they nabbed her.
You think it was like a right-wing ploy?
Well, she keeps saying it was set up, but of course she's going to say that, I guess.
I mean, it's not like out of the realm of possibility, actually.
Yeah.
It would be a smart move.
Yeah. A San Francisco right wing. I mean, I'm sure they exist, right wing San Francisco salons.
Yeah.
That would be funny. Like, it's kind of funny, the idea that, you know, there are these florists who won't like serve gay weddings.
Yeah.
And it's like, it always amazes me when they're male florists who won't serve gay weddings.
Yeah, because they don't want to catch gay.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I'm just saying they're already challenging heteronormative norms by being men who are florists.
Well, that's, you know, maybe they're hiding something. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe the thorn. Maybe the underneath the rose is a thorn. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. All right, let me just show this. Let me just show this video of Nancy because it's kind of funny. I don't know why it made me laugh, but the state began allowing salons and barbershops to reopen indoor service Monday after having barred it for most of the pandemic, but individual counties can keep closures in place. In the Bay Area, San Francisco and Alameda counties are not allowing salons to have customers indoors. Pelosi indicated that East Salon in the Marina District, where she had her hair done Monday, had given her an incorrect version of the rules. I take responsibility for trusting the word of the neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years many times. And when they said we're able to accommodate people one person at a time, I trusted that, the speaker said during a combative exchange with reporters in the empty schoolyard of Mission Education Center Elementary School. Pelosi's response acknowledged she was not aware of local rules prohibiting such indoor treatments. There is no provision in San Francisco for customers to get their hair done indoors one at a time. Her response came after conservative critics jumped on her for appearing hypocritical and supporting restrictions on businesses and other aspects of public life to quell the pandemic while engaging in a locally banned activity herself. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be like, yeah, the Republicans are going to go crazy with this. And let's just see her. I mean, I shouldn't be doing this, especially because I'm saying that this is so stupid. Who cares? But we got to see it. I think it's funny that it's a setup, too. That is funny.
San Francisco city leaders have yet to comment on how.
Okay, you can see that and hear that, right?
Yeah.
Speaker Pelosi's visit to a hair salon here in the city yesterday in violation of COVID-19 restrictions. Now, Fox News obtained this security footage showing the speaker inside the salon yesterday, not wearing a mask. The salon owner told Fox News that a stylist who rents space allowed the speaker to come into the salon. It has been closed, though, like so many others, due to coronavirus health orders. Now, in a statement, Pelosi's office says the speaker always wears a mask and complies with local COVID requirements. Her deputy chief of staff says, quote, this business offered the speaker to come in on Monday and told her they were allowed by the city to have one customer at a time in the business. The speaker complied with the rules as presented to her by this establishment. Now, we're working to gather more reaction, and we'll have that for you coming up in just a few minutes at 5:30.
I mean, it's so ridiculous. It's so stupid. And I don't know why they're talking about this, but obviously it works because I'm playing it right now. But I think we're playing it more to draw attention to how many free gifts the Dems give the Republicans.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
Okay. So now we have another story that's very important. Someone else we're big fans of. In fact, I think we like this person even more than Pelosi. And we hate a lot of men, by the way, lest you think we don't. Who are some men we hate?
Oh, Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton, yeah. big time.
Barack Obama.
Yeah, Biden. Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg, the worst. Yeah. I like Steyer. I have a soft spot for Steyer. Oh my God, we got to watch the video.
I mean, he's kind of a goofy dude. Yeah.
He's so obsessed with Bernie Sanders. It's like me and him are tied.
Yeah.
All right. So here's a great clip that Shauna Burley found of one of our best. We love Joyanne Reid. We absolutely love her. We've we've covered her a few different times. So here's this. I don't know if there's a way that I can have someone else control this when I'm doing it, but I'm not sure if there is, but it is, that'll be amazing.
Leaders, let's say in the Muslim world, talk a lot of violent talk and encourage their supporters to be willing to commit violence, including on their own bodies, in order to win against whoever they decide is the enemy. We in the U.S. media describe that as they are radicalizing those people, particularly when they're radicalizing young people. That's how we talk about the way Muslims act. When you see what Donald Trump is doing, is that any different from what we describe as radicalizing people? When leaders, let's say in the Muslim world, talk a lot of violent talk and encourage...
Hot take. Donald Trump a lot like Muslims.
It's great. I mean, it's perfect, right? Because it's Joyanne Reid. I mean, I think the reason why we focus on her a lot is because she's the classic lib that has done the incredibly recent rebranding into like extreme wokeness, in the worst sense of the word. You know, like wokeness to beat back like a left-wing insurgency, right? But in her bones, Joyanne Reid is not woke at all. Nope. Joyanne Reid, when she was a blogger at the Miami Herald, was incredibly homophobic and all that stuff. Like, and again, I don't mean to like murder her for that
or cancel her, right? Yeah,
I'm not canceling her for that. It's more that, you know, it's just the funny trajectory, right? You know, like that she's like this. Obviously, she did the whole thing where she was hacked and all that stuff, which we've laughed about a lot. But this is just another example that, like, in her heart of hearts, you know, she's like she's problematic to say the least. Right. But she's rebranded herself, much like Hillary Clinton has, as just like extreme woke, you know, like intersectional POC feminist, you know, like, and it's just like, man, it's just hilarious when every once in a while she takes the mask off and just reveals the reality.
I know. Yeah, it's also funny because it's like, okay, she's comparing, like, is Donald Trump not like these Muslim leaders? And it's like, are you not like Donald Trump?
Katie, we may be disgusted with Osama bin Laden's horrific actions on 9/11, but the reality is he is a person of color, and we should respect that. Here's Joyanne Reid for more.
Oh my God. No, how would he defend her?
Brian Williams?
Yeah.
He would say, like, me as while I may find Joyanne Reid's comments about Muslims troubling, I, as a cis heterosexual white man, cannot understand the experience of a BIPOC WOC like Joyanne Reid. I have to respect her voice and her opinions. Here's Joyanne Reid for more.
And that's why I'm centering Joyanne Reid.
Yeah, I center Black women. Black women will save us.
Oh my God, yes. This is like
breaking news. Breaking news, a far-left Twitter mob of mostly white men have attacked Joyanne Reid for her supposedly anti-Islamic comments. These men are not centering her experience as a WOC like I am. Here's Joyanne Reid for more on this developing story.
That's really good. By the way, whoever said I'm the worst at impressions, that's very rude. And if I sound like Jimmy Stewart, that makes sense. But
Jimmy Stewart's more like that, you know, like it's more exaggerated.
Yeah, I can kind of.
Who's that Joyanne Reid there?
Yeah, it's really good. Wow, my favorite is definitely the Brian Williams though. Woke Brian Williams is so good. So
that's how he can rebrand himself after just completely failing at the one job he's supposed to have, which is like being a newsman.
Yeah.
He just tells a freaking lie about getting shot at in a helicopter or whatever and gets fired from NBC News. And then he can come back. Like you can come back and rebrand as woke. Like David Frum is going to rebrand as woke. All these people. Yeah.
What about the thing is, that's my warrant. The thing is, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the deal.
Here's the thing. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. She kind of
Kevin Clinton's writes, leave Brian Williams alone. He was shot at.
Yeah. I may have been shot at, but I recognize that my shooters were POC, and I need to respect that. Or where was he shot at? Was he in
Iraq?
Okay, yeah. So they were POC, yeah.
Yeah.
They're POC, yeah. It's not like Hillary Clinton, who was supposedly shot at by Serbians.
Right. Well, were they Muslims or? We got to find that out.
Serbians aren't usually Muslim.
Right.
Those are the ethnic Albanians in Kosovo.
Right. The Kosovans. Kosovians, yeah. Kosovars, yeah. Adolf Reid is legend. Adolf Reid is legend. Not really, though.
Adolf Reid is a class reductionist. Here's Joanne Reid for more.
Adolf Reid is a class reductionist. You know who's not a class reductionist? Joanne Reid.
Race-specific problems require race-specific solutions. That's
with that, the readout, yeah. So we are okay. So yeah, let's surprise for Joanne Reid. She balanced out her anti-Semitism. A couple shows ago, we showed her having a body language expert. Can you believe this? I can't believe it. I still can't get over it. A body language expert analyzing Bernie Sanders and saying he turtles.
Yeah,
she was the worst. All right. This is another important story. Sarah Sanders has a book out. Did you guys hear this?
Sarah Huckabee.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Relation.
I know.
No relation to the two other Sanders in politics, Bernie and Simone.
Oh yeah, I know, that was awkward, right? So many Sanders, so little time. So Sarah Sanders has a book out. And let's get the screen of that. Her father's Mike Huckabee, and you know that he wrote a book called Quit Digging Your Own Grave with a Fork and a Spoon or something. And it's about weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
You knew that?
Yeah.
All right. Good.
He also plays the bass on Fox News every once in a while. I've seen those videos.
And he's in a band called The Outlaws Capital Offense or something. How is he as a bassist?
He's probably fine.
Oh, you haven't heard him?
I mean, I've heard him play I've heard him cover,
Free
Pinball
Bird
Wizard or something. Yeah, like on a Fox News show, but you can't really tell. I mean, I'm sure he's fine, but
yeah. So here's the book, which we should get. I should get. Maybe I can write to the publisher and ask for a review copy. Stranger things have happened. It's called Speaking for Myself.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I mean, the thing that
Sarah
claims Trump said is hilarious.
Well, that's what we're going to get to. So here it is. Speaking for myself, faith, freedom, and the fight of our lives inside the Trump White House. But it's not anti. And honestly, good for her because, it's a #1 seller already. Good for her because I'm tired of these Trumpists getting credit for leaving the administration and writing these tell-alls. Like, what the hell did you think he was like before you started working for him? Mm-hmm. And as we've explained, we are Trumpites in the battle between Bolton and Trump. I mean, I don't call myself a Trumpite, but if I had to choose teams there.
Yeah, Trump all day.
Trump all day, totally. So I wanted to read an excerpt from her book. So she talks about Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, my supreme leader.
Yes. So and she writes. Let me just. She writes about this. Hold on. Okay, here it is, just in case people want to read along. She writes about the incident with Kim. Okay, so Sanders describes a session at the Singapore talks in which the dictator, okay, fine, but whatever, that's fine. I mean, it is, but it isn't, because they don't use that word consistently. In which the dictator reluctantly accepted a tic tac from Trump, who dramatically blew into the air to reassure Kim it was just a breath mint and not a capsule of poison. The two men also talked about sports, including women's soccer. Then Sanders writes, she looked up to notice Kim staring at me. We made.
I love that they talked about women's soccer.
Yeah, I know.
It's amazing. Like, what do they talk about? Oh, the women are great.
Unbelievable.
Great women.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except I can't stand that rapping. I can't do his voice. Can you do Trump?
I can do a bit of a Trump.
Yeah, do that, please.
Megan Rapinoe, very nasty to me, very gross. She's got the hair. What's going on with the hair? The hair is very, very gross. Stuff
what's
like
funny
that.
is you sound like Anthony Amatok, who does an amazing Trump. Adamak, yeah, thank you. Yeah, he does an amazing Trump. So that it's still good.
He does do it. I actually interviewed him as Trump in 2016, so maybe that's why it stuck.
Yeah. Okay, so Kim's then Sanders writes, she looked up to notice Kim staring at me. We made direct eye contact and Kim nodded and appeared to wink at me. I was stunned. I quickly looked down and continued taking notes. All I could think was, what just happened? Surely Kim Jong-un did not just mark me. What does that mean, mark me?
like a hunter going after his prey, predator. Yeah.
She's really what she's like. Did she?
This
feel
is like
violent?
This is like the world's most epic humble brag of all time.
Yeah.
Like Sarah Huckabee Sanders walks in front of Kim Jong Un and he winks at her, and it's like, oh shit, that's just a humble brag. That's a classic humble brag.
I would write about it if it happened, but also why not? Maybe he just winks. Maybe that's a thing he does.
Or maybe he's got an eye twitch.
Yeah. But also, mark me, is that like a violent term usually or not? Is there something? Because I like the idea that she's being like, his wink was literal violence. But she wasn't doing that?
No.
All right. Okay, so later in the presidential beast limousine on the way to the airport, Sanders relayed the incident to Trump and his then chief of staff, John Kelly. Kim Jong-un hit on you. He did. He fucking hit on you. Well, Sarah, and he said something that made her say, sir, please stop. And then Trump joked, well, Sarah, that settles it. You're going to North Korea and taking one for the team. Your husband and kids will miss you, but you'll be a hero to your country.
He's clearly joking, right?
Of course he's joking. Yeah, she knows he's joking.
Yeah.
But
it's not like, oh my God. Because that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. Rebranding is woke. Sarah Huckabee Sanders can be rebranding as this was sexual harassment,
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, also, right. Oh my God. You mean the guy who said he grabs women by the pussy, said something kind of uncomfortable?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's but yeah, the whole thing just strikes me as the world's most epic humble brag of all time.
Yeah.
Do the kids still use that word? Or do
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Is that an ambulance?
Yeah.
By you?
Yeah. No, it's not an ambulance. It's some alarm they do. I don't know why. Thank you, Red Pill. With love from Antifa. Antifa does have leadership. The leaders of Antifa are every American soldier that died during World War II fighting Hitler.
World War II veteran watching the show.
I mean, he could just be a fan. Also, I don't think he is a dead one because he says the leaders of Antifa are every American soldier that died during World War II.
Wow.
Fighting Hitler. Now I'm just doing a little bit of multitasking.
Yeah, I'm trying to resolve a problem I have at work. But
oh, really? All right.
Yeah.
You can
it's all good.
All right. You can tell me. Good. We can hash it out. Maybe you can crowdsource the problems.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
You never know the perspective you're gonna get. So anything you want to say? This is so serious, but do you want to talk about Trump and Kenosha?
I struggle to find something interesting to say. I mean, it's obviously all bad, it's bad. and the written, whatever that kid's name, written how, like, I mean, it was the most obvious thing in the world that he would defend him, and it's gross, obviously, that he would defend him, but it's predictable. Like it's like we got to come up with something. We got to come up with something different. I feel like we got to come up with something better to fight him against. I mean, like if you watch the RNC, it was just a parade of all these kind of media created figures, right? Like the Covington High School morons and the couple that like stood outside the house with their guns while the protests were going through and all that stuff. Like they're in a way just kind of media creations, people that have don't mean anything in the grand scheme of things at all. I'm not saying that Rittenhouse is the same as these people, but like, once you establish the kind of culture war boundaries, Trump understands intuitively that he just has to like lay into the one side of it as hard as possible. That's why, like, I try to avoid as much as possible kind of fighting on that terrain of the culture war. It's just, I just find it so obviously a political loser, for the left. So I just try to like not really talk about it. Like it's obviously awful. Like what I mean, does anyone need me to say that to them?
No, I guess, yeah. I mean, no. And you know what I would say is that this is actually one of the cases where I really do think that Biden and Trump are very different. In terms of, I don't think they'll do that much differently in terms of police policy. I do think they stoke the hatred. I think Trump stokes hatred more than Biden does.
Totally.
Yeah. And it's very sad and it's very scary. And obviously, if people don't know, he defended Kyle Rittenhouse, who is the 17-year-old who is charged with murdering 2 protesters in Kenosha, and asked if he's going to defend the actions of vigilantes like Kyle Rittenhouse. He said that the situation is under investigation and that based on the tape, Kyle Rittenhouse probably would have been killed if he hadn't defended himself.
Yeah. And did you see that there's a Kyle Rittenhouse defense fund that people are donating to and shit like that? Oh yeah, and it's got like tons of money. But do you know, Katie? You know who Rick Perlstein is?
Yeah.
You should have him on because he just came out with a new book called Reaganland. That would be
right. He wrote Nixonland. Yeah.
He wrote Nixonland, which I read. And like when you read Nixonland, you see that these contours of the culture war were very real back then. Like, something that I didn't know about, for example, like the My Lai massacre, right? It's kind of credited as being like when Americans kind of turned on the Vietnam War, when they figured out like the horrors of the My Lai massacre. Rick Perlstein like very kind of thoroughly documents that kind of the reaction in America to the My Lai massacre. And on the right, especially like the Reagan-led right, kind of this like new type of conservatism came out of the Barry Goldwater campaign and stuff. Those people defended the soldiers at My Lai. Like they were like, no, but like I think they were actually American heroes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like the same exact thing with Rittenhouse was done. It's remarkable to read because you see that these culture war fights were like starting back in the 1960s and have continued through today, and we have not been able to move on from them.
Yeah. And I mean, and also like culture wars usually it's like a culture war. You're looking at the murder and violence through the lens of the culture war. I'm not saying inappropriately, but that's certainly because I think a lot of people think of culture wars as gay marriage. What else? Like pot legalization, issues that don't have
trans bathrooms.
Yeah, right. But this is like.
But there's all kinds of things. Like again, like the Covington High School kids is like the classic example.
Right.
That like was classic culture war, and there was like tons of takes and like analysis of the tape, and it's like, who gives a shit? Like who gives a shit? It's like we're just fighting to signal, I'm on this team, you're on that team.
Yeah.
About this issue that doesn't matter at all. Like literally make zero.
But in this case, the issue does matter, right?
No, it does matter. Obviously, it does matter, and it's like, but like, I don't know. I'm not sure like what kind of like analysis it requires beyond like. Of course, it's bad.
Of course, it's bad. Yeah.
Like I don't know what analysis beyond that we can provide, other than like, I mean, I don't know. Does anyone in the comments think that it's good?
Or how the left? No, right. Of course not. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you're right. And like, what should be done about this? I don't know, but yeah, you're right. It is. You're right.
I just find that those, like, when it becomes part of the culture war, it's losing terrain for us, and we might as well just ignore it.
Yeah.
You know, as like kind of cold and heartless as that sounds, you know, like, because this guy is a murderer.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying that, you know, he shouldn't be prosecuted or anything like that,
right.
but like media
Why are you
airtime
trying
for
to free him? Just kidding.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Russia did more to beat the Nazis than the U.S., and they also look in all the Nazis and gave them jobs. See NASA. Took in all the Nazis and gave them jobs.
They did, and also gave them jobs, you know, murdering leftists in Latin America.
That really Russia did that? That sucks.
No,
oh, the U.S. did that. I'm really tired. Sorry, guys. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the Nazi. I was gonna call it My Nazi Neighbor. That's what it's called. The Nazi Next Door.
The new sitcom by Katie Halper.
I know.
My Nazi Neighbor.
I know. It's a kid show.
A Jew.
He's a Nazi.
They're neighbors. Yeah.
Well, there's this show called The Nazi Next Door, which was really good. Did you see it on Netflix?
Oh no, it's good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I had Yasha Levine on to talk about it, and he hadn't seen it. That was awkward.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I remember that. Yeah.
I typecast. That's what I get for assuming all Ukrainians had seen this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's bad. And what else? I guess. Oh, Biden's thing today. Should we show that? Where's the Biden video?
Well, I just saw the news of it. I didn't see the actual video, but the New York Times had a description on it.
I knew he was going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that he's gonna condemn the rioters and looters.
Yeah. My favorite was the arsonists and anarchists. One is a crime, one is a not very active ideology. Anyway, well, Nando, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we will see you next week.
Next week.
Yeah, and let us know ahead of time. We'll give you some tips on how to deal with your breakdowns.
Absolutely.
Or work problems. Yeah. Nando is a very hardworking man.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, Nando.
Bye-bye.
All righty. So now we're going to be talking to Nick Brana very soon. Yeah, and I won't do this usually Nando had to move it to earlier, but I don't like many things, including conflicting with Jimmy Dore. So that won't happen. Don't worry, guys. Okay. So now I'm going to take a quick break. I got to use the facilities. 1 second. Hold on. I'm going to play a little bit of a Cornel West clip. 4:33:59. Okay. I love the way he has this. When Matt Taibbi and I interviewed Cornel West, he had the same thing. He's like on an angle. I'm not sure what it is. Hold on 1 second. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Yeah. Let me make sure that Nick has the link. Okay. Let me make sure the link went through. All right, so I'm going to play this because I don't know where he is right now. Sorry, this is keeping this a little off. Yeah, Congress is not Okay. You guys have any questions or comments? I still couldn't think of, I think I had performance anxiety or whatever, because I had some really good ideas about a good tweet for that guy. And yeah. Is that what's called? Performance issues? Performance anxiety? What's it called? Okay. Performance anxiety, thanks. Joy Reid just walked back her comments yesterday by saying she wasn't artful. What else? We need a neoliberal third party to get the know-nothings to come out of the dark. Ask Brana. Okay. We already have the third way. Yeah. Anyone have the Joe Biden thing for me to respond to? All right, I'm becoming more and more anti-People's Convention, People's Party. Pretty soon, I'm going to be joining Third Way. Okay, so I know Third Way isn't a party. I know that. I guess I got to get people's numbers when I book them. We confirmed it was EST. What's MPP? What's MPP? Okay. I mean, we could just end early, but I don't want to do that because that would not be good. That would not be nice. Let's see. Let's see. You should. Okay, I will ask Nick these questions. But why is MP? What's M from MPP? People's Party. What that? The movement? Movement for a People's Party. Got it. Oh, guess who's going to come on? Kelly. All right, let me invite her on. I'm emailing it to you. Oh yeah, Kelly's going to yell at you all and tell you to subscribe and like, as you should. But I'm not going to make any jokes at her expense because that doesn't always turn out well. Guys, I'm having some really good guests coming on soon. Qasim Rashid, who's running for Congress in Virginia. He's really awesome. Also, Gerald Horn, Dr. Gerald Horn, also awesome historian. Get some communists up in here. Did you get the link? Kelly, I sent you the link. All right, here. Oh, and Nick is here right now. Nick is here. Kelly, you're going to have to come on later. All right, Nick, we're inviting you on. But that was very good because you definitely built up the people's, the suspense. So, Nick, are you ready to go? Okay. Welcome, Nick. Brana, how are you?
Katie.
Hey, how are you? Nick at night. Great.
Doing great.
Great.
a mix of ecstatic and exhausted and thrilled. But yeah, doing great. Good to see you.
You too. We had Marianne Williamson on Sunday, right after the People's Convention. And people were mad at me for not covering it because it's true, I was derelict, but I saw some very inspiring videos, and I think I thought it was going on for many days, because if it were in real life, it probably would have, but things in Zoom get a little collapsed and compressed. But tell us what you guys achieved and what happened. And was it a historic moment?
Geez, I hope so. It could have been multiple days. When we initially announced it with Senator Turner and Dr. Cornel West, which was only 3 weeks before we actually had the event.
Wow.
And so like I'm kind of blown away by what we managed to achieve, and I'm super happy about what we managed to achieve in 3 weeks and all the people we got together. But we had it at only 2 hours. And then the response was so overwhelming in terms of speakers and, people who wanted to join, that we just had to keep kind of like extending the program. And it ended up being almost 6 hours, like 5.5 hours. And a bunch of us were like, oh, geez, I don't know. Are people going to be into that? Are people going to watch the whole thing? Do people have like an attention span for more than like a movie?
Right.
But in the end, there was like, we were like number 2 top trending and number 5 top trending throughout the entire presentation, and people were watching the whole thing. It was amazing. Like it blew us away.
Yeah. And what is the People's Party's vision?
I mean, so we came very much out of like the Bernie campaign in 2016. I was Bernie's national political outreach coordinator, lobbied the superdelegates for him, miserable job, and then helped him found Our Revolution, was the electoral manager there. And those experiences convinced me personally that the Democratic Party could not be reformed, that it was, as corporate as the Republican Party. Corporate law, they take the same corporate money, even on the CPC, unfortunately, and they have
the CPC being
Congressional
Progressive Caucus.
Yeah, and they have corporate lobbyists on their national committee, which they just defended like about a few weeks ago, and decided to re-up that. And so I got together with some other Bernie volunteers and staff and delegates, and we all said, there's a majority of Americans now that are calling for a major new party, and we think that's exactly the direction that we should go. Things like this are working in other countries, like in Europe and in Latin America, and of course there are some differences between the electoral systems, but we still think that it can be done here. Because the balance of frustration with these two corporate parties has reached a tipping point, and the money can no longer kind of hold back, people. Like, for example, on Twitter, we had a trending hashtag 3 days before the convention too, and it was being suppressed. And yet, it was so overwhelming during the convention that it was still, number 2 and number 5, and it was competing with the VMAs, and it was competing with like basketball.
The Video Music Awards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did they suppress it? Do you know?
It was jumping up to like, top 13, and then it would just jump back down, and there was this pattern of that. I've been told there's a Twitter blacklist, and by people who know, I don't know, people who are like Twitter pros, and they say that's like a telltale sign. So yeah.
So are you guys forming a third party? What's wrong with the Greens? I mean, I'm saying that as someone who I'm not. That's to play devil's advocate. What's wrong with the Green Party? Yeah.
Yes, the movement for a People's Party is a movement for a major new corporate free party in the United States of America. Doesn't take corporate money, not under the influence of corporate money, but also restructures the party so that it's under control by the membership. Like the leadership is elected, the platform, is a lot more binding than what you have in the Democratic Party, where nobody pays attention to it. And the reason that we think that we need a major new party as opposed to like being able to, you know, build up the Green Party or a different existing alternative is that we think that this moment is really suited to something new that doesn't carry the baggage of something that's been around for a long time. And it has like a much greater sense of possibility. And when we looked at what's working abroad in Latin America and in Europe, like we saw that new parties were actually the most successful as well, like Morena in Mexico, which came about in 2014. It started in 2012 as a movement. 2014, it became a party. And 4 years later, it had taken the presidency, both houses of the national legislature, and the majority of the governorships. So we think that, you know, that trend and that kind of thing is happening in other countries too, where new parties are coming about. They're displacing the center-left party, and they're having enormous success in their countries. Like Podemos is another example. Frente Amplio is another example in Chile. And so this is a phenomenon, and I think it's kind of a global reaction and shaking off of neoliberalism. Decades. Yeah.
So just some questions. So Joshua Mowdy asked, do you feel that this is the right time for this? Honestly, well, I mean, what is that? Well, the right time for what? I mean, you're not going to be in the 2020 election, right?
That's right. We don't have any candidates now. And we cast a vote actually at the convention. We had more than 500,000 people. We've had more than 500,000 people view it now across various platforms. And we cast a vote with of all attendees, and it was overwhelmingly in favor of creating a major new party in 2021. Okay. We don't have candidates in this election.
Right. And why 2021?
Because that's next year, and because that allows us, that puts us on a timetable of being able to get on all of the state ballots by the 2024 presidential election, run a presidential candidate in 2024, as well as running candidates at the congressional level and possibly lower levels down ballot in the midterms.
Yeah. What is the, we'll get to more questions, but what is the failure of the Green Party? I mean, you referred to baggage. I don't know, like, I don't know what it is. There's definitely some, with all due respect, but there's some public access energy, I would say, public access TV energy to the Greens. And the aesthetics matter. I don't mean aesthetics like the way people look, obviously, but just aesthetics in terms of kind of overall style. How would you describe the failures of the Green Party?
I don't want to be so negative.
I know.
I think at the same time, they have laid the groundwork for what we're doing now.
It's true.
But there is even a trend, you know, or I would say like a precedent, a tradition in the United States where, you know, we have had a major third party, a major new party displace one of the major parties, become one of the, you know, major parties. It was the Republican Party that replaced the Whig Party, and that's actually how we got rid of slavery. That's how we got abolition in the United States, took the third party. But before the Republican Party came about and was the breakthrough party, there was the Liberty Party, there was the Free Soil Party, there were these smaller kind of like antecedent parties, and we believe that the Green Party kind of plays that role in this election. We think that we need something that's just more matched to the times. You know, the Green Party, for example, I studied climate science. I care very much, you know, volunteered with Extinction Rebellion. I cared very much about the climate breakdown and climate crisis. But the kind of party that we believe is going to succeed in the United States is a party that is deeply in touch with people's, you know, day-to-day economic struggle, their inability, you know, the fact that 1 out of every 10 Americans is facing eviction now, you know, with the pandemic, people's inability to even afford food at this point. One out of every 3 families with children can't afford food. You know, being able to go to college, afford healthcare, of course. You know, we just learned that I believe it's about 12 million people now who've lost their employer-based coverage. So it's those things that we really believe, you know, so having that like really economic, populist, progressive character like Bernie did, We believe that attributed very much to his success and has the ability that makes you run on supermajority issues, like 60, 70, 80, 90% of people agree on those kind of like core ticket issues that Bernie ran on. And that's where we think the coalition is for a major new party.
And are you in touch with Bernie?
We have been. We actually, Dr. West and I invited him on Democracy Now! Back in 2017 to join us at a different, at the Convergence Conference that we held at American University. And he said he wanted to run for president at the time, did not want to kind of discuss building a new party at that point. But personally, I believe that after this election, when Trump is no longer kind of like an object in terms of the election, I mean, he'll be back in office or out. I think that if enough of the movement has joined us, enough of the progressive movement, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Bernie and on progressive members of Congress to join their constituency and participate in building a major new party.
Yeah. I think that like the more, it's just, I mean, Jimmy Dore actually is the one who mentioned or showed or played this clip of Lawrence O'Donnell saying, if you don't have I worked on Capitol Hill, I worked in the Senate, you do not move to the left. Like, we don't care because they have nowhere to go. It's frustrating. I do feel like we're at a turning point, though. I'm hoping that we are. Who knows? But I wonder, do you have any plans to, wait, let's see. Hold on. I just had a really good question that I saw. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. Someone asked if this is like the People's Party of the 18. Well, actually, that's what, it's funny. That's what Thomas Frank wrote his book on. But does this resemble any other political parties?
In our history, yes. It does bear resemblance to the People's Party of the late 19th century. In the fact that it is a party that is aiming to unite people on populist grounds, populist progressive grounds, just like they did.
Yeah, you got to talk to Thomas Frank.
Yeah,
he just wrote this book called "The People, No: A History of Anti-Populism."
Absolutely, I would love to. Love to. Yeah, have him as an advisor.
Yeah. We're talking about forming. We want to form an ONG because there are all these like anti-populist ONGs that study, right populist movements as if they're this right-wing thing, and so we got to form like an NGO that. Did I say ONG, by the way, last time, or did I say NGO? That's what it is in Spanish, which is like, I don't know why we were talking about Spain earlier on the show, but sorry, NGO.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm Chilean.
Oh yeah.
so
you can relate. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We were saying we have to have some like NGOs that study anti-populist movements or really elite ideologies is really what it is. And then Kurt Rebo says we can't reform the Democratic Party, but we can take it over. We build a third party, but we should also fight the Dems within the party. Either way, we are going to have to fight them. That's true. Were you born in Chile or you're Chile? I never know if I should say it in the. It's like if I'm not from there, it sounds pretentious if I say it that way.
I'm first generation.
Okay.
Yeah. My parents came over in the 70s.
Okay, so were they political?
They were, and part of the reason they left is because of the Pinochet regime.
Right. Yeah. So I was going to ask if that influenced your politics.
It has, and growing up, Latino and speaking Spanish, in a Latino community, has absolutely influenced my politics. I feel like it has, given me like a different window. I understood that I came from somewhere else, even very early on. I actually couldn't even speak the language when I started going to school. I couldn't even speak English.
Really?
I just picked it up in school. Yeah.
Where did they move? Your family, your parents?
They moved to Los Angeles.
Okay.
In the U.S. Yeah.
And what about an international? Is there going to be an international movement around this, or is this going to be mostly American?
We don't have any plans for something like that, but I would say that it already is an international movement, and we're kind of connecting to it. It is this global revolt against neoliberalism that is taking the form of new parties, and where the left and progressives are having the most success is where they're doing that, is where they're forming new parties. And other countries have the luxury of more like multi-member districts and not having like some, they have ranked choice, but we believe that that is still very indicative of like a global, kind of willing to switch systems, and a lot of it we think is powered by the internet and how interconnected people are now. The fact that we can reach thousands of people by doing this, and
Right.
like people are hearing this now instead of like a CNN broadcast. And that just like wasn't possible, 2-3 decades ago.
Right. Yeah. Apologies. We announced this really late, and we're competing with Jimmy Dore, which we don't usually do, but it'll be seen afterwards. Don't worry. And you can blame my part-time co-host Nando for making me do it earlier today. But here, so acronym TV. Oh, who I have to get back to. Very excited about MPP, and I'm Jill Stein's former comms director, but honest question, why build MPP and not join and take over the Green Party?
Well, we talked about it a little bit already, but we think that a new party has the most kind of viability because it needs that kind of, Bernie character of that populist progressive, economic, approach. And also, like, another thing that I will say is that while the establishment, works really hard to make it seem like ballot access and party formation is like an impossible barrier, the Green Party has an annual budget of about $250,000, $300,000, and about 3 full-time staff equivalents. And so to think that in 2016, for example, they got on 48 state ballots with that level of resources, it just goes to show that, if you're bringing the resources of the progressive movement to bear, then, you're talking about orders of magnitude greater, like volunteer power and fundraising, small dollar fundraising, sustaining donors, monthly donors. And you can blow those ballot access kind of requirements out of the water. Yeah.
There's also, I would say, like, baggage, like you were saying before, for better or for worse, a lot of people blame the Greens for things. Again, I think a lot of it's unfair, but I do think that there are people who have been exposed to a lot of MSNBC propaganda who really think that the Greens are why Donald Trump is president, why Bush won in 2000. So I also see a real strategic value for this. And also I do agree with you that there's it's worth starting something like fresh and anew. Someone else wrote, and I guess the answer is, this is maybe one of the answers, but why not PSL, which is the Party of Socialism and Party of Social Liberation? Is that what it stands for?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Party for Socialism and Liberation. Yeah. Because we believe that when you look at what Americans believe, the issues, we have supermajority agreement, Medicare for all, 70%, a basic income in the form of recurring stimulus checks is at 82%. Getting money out of politics is above 90%. So there's these, supermajority coalition issues that can bring together working people, because neither the Democrats or Republicans support that. There's just this ocean of people who support that, but they don't. But then at the same time, when you ask people, how do you self-identify, characterize yourself politically, give yourself a label. When you do that, people tend to self-identify as center-right. And so the median American says, I'm conservative or I'm, moderate. And so, it's kind of, in order to build a new party, you have to reconcile that juxtaposition. And what it means is that you have to run on issues over like labels and over ideologies, you know. And Bernie was a great example of that, because even though he was running as a democratic socialist, you know, like in his stump speech, it was all about issues.
Yeah. Is he mad at you?
God, I hope not. Yeah. I'm happy with him. He did. He got us this far.
Yeah, you know? I know. He's very, he's very focused on defeating Trump.
He has an open invitation.
Okay, I'm sure he'll jump at the chance. Yeah, maybe he will after Trump is defeated or reelected. What is your position on Biden, like on electoral politics at this stage, given that we have a two-party system for all intents and purposes? What should be done around November?
There was a lot of really great debate around that, actually, at the People's Convention. Chris Hedges, for example, took the position, you know, that we need to vote independent, you know, vote green in this election. And then others like Marianne Williamson, I saw part of your interview with her. Yeah. Great. And Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner, they thought, you know, that we need to support Biden because Trump is, you know, such a threat. You know, the basic liberties. And our position is, you know, vote your conscience in this election. But the most important thing is that we never find ourselves in this position again with two super corporate candidates. It's like we have to break this spiral downwards. Basically.
What else? Let's see. Any other questions? Sorry, it's hard for me to keep track. Green Party. Okay. Vote La Riva 2020. Never Biden over Trump. What else? Any questions you have for my audience?
Oh, what do people think of the People's Convention?
Yeah.
Are people excited to build a new party? You know, like,
yeah. We can also jog people. We can watch some. People have been sharing some of their favorite parts. Do you have a couple minutes to watch some of this?
Oh, totally.
And then respond to it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So let's watch a few clips.
I could hang out until 9 or.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys need to make individual clips.
Oh,
yeah. You really do. It'll get so much more traffic.
Very true.
I mean, just how many speakers? At least divide at least a couple. Okay, is this a good place to start? Oops, can you hear that?
I can't.
You can?
I cannot.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Okay, let me make sure that I. Okay. Okay.
Rooted in the American dream and has everything to do with the movement for People's Party.
Is that a good place to start, Nick?
We're talking about.
If you go back about a minute,
sure.
Who
the connection you make there is really great.
Wherewithal, who have not just the courage but the fortitude to
4:33 it starts.
Political nature.
We can start here.
Yeah, if you go to 4:33, like 55, something like that.
Of the dark corner of your soul, that such that you will engage in a genuine quest for truth.
It's so hard to do this.
To generate the fruits.
Clips are coming.
All right, here. Yeah.
In the face of so many demonic and devilish forces that are shot through not just our structures and institutions, but shot through our very souls and hearts. 57 years and 3 days ago, the greatest public intellectual in the history of the American empire died in Ghana. His name was W.E.B. Du Bois. And that next morning, young brother Martin Luther King told America about a dream that he had, which was not the American dream, but a dream rooted in the American dream and has everything to do with the movement for People's Party. Because what we're talking about here is a people who muster the wherewithal, who have not just the courage, but the fortitude to fructify. And by fructify, I mean to generate the fruits of truth-telling, to generate the truth of justice seeking, to generate the truth of kindness and sweetness and gentleness in how we relate to each other, but with a steel spine when it comes to bearing witness in the face of oppression. That's why Du Bois raised the 4 questions. What does integrity do in the face of oppression? Oh, here's the people's movement and the People's Party. What does honesty do in the face of deception? Here is the People's Party at its best. What does decency do in the face of insult and assault? What does courage do in the face of brute force? We are living in a moment of massive imperial meltdown, spiritual breakdown, and we need prophetic fight back. And the People's Party is a prophetic fight back that, like Du Bois, believes in multiracial, multi-gender, multi-sexual orientational, multi-binary and non-binary sexual sensibilities and orientations, a solidarity with those Francophone called the wretched of the earth that can tell the truth about America, both its best and its worth. Because let us never forget, each and every one of us come out of various families, communities, and traditions. So we have to be true for where we come from. And I come from a people who have been on intimate terms with catastrophe. So the ecological catastrophe impending, the nuclear catastrophe that we don't like to talk about with the gangsters in Russia and the gangsters in the United States and the gangsters in other ruling elites that have the possibility of pushing buttons and blowing us all up. The economic catastrophe was unbelievably grotesque levels of wealth inequality that we hear over and over again, and the refusal to come to terms with poverty, the refusal to come to terms with working people's empowerment through unions in any means by which they can live lives of decency and dignity. The intimate forms of resistance and resilience in the face of catastrophe. 400 years of hatred. Here come love warriors like John Coltrane, Love Supreme. Here come Martin Luther King. Here come Ella Baker. And Brother Biden tried to appropriate Ella Baker. Ella Baker was trying to create a third party when she met her in with Arthur Canal and the great William Kunstler and others. Same tradition. In the face of trauma for 400 years, here comes healing. Not just Aretha Franklin, not just Erykah Badu, not just Kendrick Lamar, but a whole wave of voices in churches, in mosques, in synagogues, secular forms, trying to heal folk, to empower folk. Why? Because just like our moment, we all wonder. This is Marcus Garvey's question.
All right, we'll stop on. Oh, sorry, Cornell. Not the most flattering the moment of screenshot. In fact, let me play it again because it's just
America even have the capacity.
Okay, so and what about where is we had a request for Chris Hedges. Everyone said he dropped the mic. Where is
he did. A little further
after West.
Oh no, he
before
was
West.
There. You were just about there. If you go to like the first third. And yeah, you just go back a little bit.
Yeah, that was so great. I had him on the show.
Chris?
Isaiah.
Oh, Isaiah. Oh, very cool.
He's a great speaker. Okay, there's Chris.
There's Chris. Should
I start in any particular place?
He spoke for about 8 minutes, and the whole thing was on fire. So you could play some of the beginning.
Yeah. I don't mean to be rude and not play other people, but
he was great. I mean, with the everybody said he said what needed to be
several best-selling books.
Kind of harsh on Bernie, I heard, but we'll see.
Host of the Emmy Award-winning RT America show On Contact, Chris Hedges.
Thanks, Nick, and thanks for letting me speak with such impressive people, some of whom I know and most of whom I know about. There is only one choice in this election, and that is the consolidation of oligarchic power under Donald Trump or the consolidation of oligarchic power under Joe Biden. The oligarchs with Trump or Biden will win again, and we will lose. The oligarchs made it abundantly clear, should Bernie Sanders have miraculously become the Democratic Party nominee, they would join forces with the Republicans to crush him. The oligarchs preach the mantra of the least worst to us when they attempt to ram a Hillary Clinton or a Joe Biden down our throats, but ignore it for themselves. They prefer Biden over Trump, but they can live with either. Only one thing matters to the oligarchs. It is not democracy. It is not truth. It is not the consent of the governed. It is not income inequality. It is not the surveillance state. It is not endless war. It is not jobs. It is not the climate breakdown. It is the primacy of corporate power, which has extinguished our democracy and left most of the working class and the working poor in misery, as well as the continued increase and consolidation of their wealth. It is impossible to work within the system to shatter the hegemony of oligarchic power or institute meaningful reform. Change, real change, will only come by sustained acts of mass civil disobedience and mobilization, as with the Yellow Vest movement in France and the British-based Extinction Rebellion. The longer we are fooled by the electoral burlesque, the more disempowered we will become. Dr. Cornel West and I were on the streets with protesters in Philadelphia outside the appropriately named Wells Fargo Center during the 2016 Democratic Convention, when hundreds of courageous Sanders delegates walked out of the hall. "Show me what democracy looks like," they chanted, holding Bernie signs above their heads as they poured out of the exits. "This is what democracy looks like." Sanders' greatest tactical mistake was not joining them. He bowed in fear before the mighty altar of the corporate state. He had desperately tried to stave off a revolt by his supporters and delegates on the eve of the convention by sending out repeated messages in his name, most of them authored by members of the Clinton campaign, to be respectful, not disrupt the nominating process and support Clinton. Sanders was a dutiful sheepdog then and is a dutiful sheepdog now, attempting to herd his disgruntled supporters into the embrace of the Clinton and now Biden campaign. Sanders apparently believed that if he was obsequious enough to the Democratic Party elite, they would give him a chance in 2020, a chance they denied him in 2016. Politics, I suspect he would argue, is about compromise and the practical, and this is true. But playing politics in a system that is not democratic is about being complicit in the charade. Sanders misread the Democratic Party leadership, swamp creatures of the corporate state. He misread the Democratic Party itself, which is a corporate mirage. Its base can, at best, select pre-approved candidates and act as props at rallies and in choreographed party conventions. The Democratic Party voters have zero influence on party politics or party policies. Sanders' naivete and perhaps his lack of political courage drove away many of his most committed young supporters. They are right, he is wrong. We need to overthrow the system, not placate it. Trump and Biden are each repugnant figures, doddering into old age with cognitive lapses and no moral core. Is Trump more dangerous than Biden? Yes. Is Trump more inept and more dishonest? Yes. Is Trump more of a threat to the open society? Yes. But is Biden the solution? No. Biden represents the nostalgia of the ruling elite for the old neoliberal order. He personifies the betrayal by the Democratic Party of working men and women that sparked the deep hatred of the ruling elites across the political spectrum. He is a gift to demagogues and con artists like Trump. A Biden presidency will ensure that far more competent demagogues will rise to take power. Biden cannot plausibly offer change. He can only offer more of the same, and most Americans do not want more of the same. The country's largest voting bloc, the 100 million plus citizens who out of apathy or disgust do not vote, will once again stay home. This demoralization of the electorate is by design. In America, you are only allowed to vote against what you hate. But by voting for Biden, you do vote for something. You vote for the humiliation of courageous women, such as Anita Hill, who confronted their abusers. You vote for the architects of the endless wars in the Middle East. You vote for the apartheid state in Israel. You vote for wholesale surveillance of the public by government intelligence agencies and the abolition of due process and habeas corpus. You vote for austerity programs, including the destruction of welfare and cuts to Social Security. You vote for NAFTA, free trade deals, deindustrialization, a decline in wages, the loss of hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs, and the offshoring of jobs to underpaid workers who toil in sweatshops in Mexico, China, or Vietnam. You vote for the assault on public education and the transfer of federal funds to for-profit and Christian charter schools. You vote for the doubling of our prison population, the tripling and quadrupling of sentences, and huge expansion of crimes meriting the death penalty. You vote for militarized police who gun down poor people of color with impunity. You vote against the Green New Deal and immigration reform. You vote for limiting a woman's right to abortion and reproductive rights. You vote for a segregated public school system in which the wealthy receive educational opportunities and poor people are denied a chance. You vote for punitive levels of student debt and the inability to free yourself of debt obligations through bankruptcy. You vote for deregulating the banking industry and the abolition of Glass-Steagall. You vote for the for-profit insurance and pharmaceutical corporations and against universal health care. You vote for bloated defense budgets. You vote for the use of unlimited oligarchic and corporate money to buy our elections. You vote for a politician who, during his time in the Senate, abjectly served the interests of MBNA, the largest independent credit card company headquartered in Delaware, which also employed Biden's son, Hunter. What the public wants and deserves will again be ignored for what the corporate lobbyists demand if we do not respond to the social and economic catastrophe that has been visited on most of the population, exacerbated by our failure to control the pandemic. We will be unable to thwart the rise of corporate tyranny and a Christian fascism or halt the ecocide that will wipe out the human species along with most other life forms. Right-wing violence, along with lethal police violence, will explode with or without Trump in office if we do not build robust socialist programs to reintegrate those who've been pushed aside back into society, to heal the ruptured social bonds, to give workers jobs that provide a sustainable income and dignity, empowerment and protection, to provide free and well-funded schooling through college. If we do not rebuild our labor unions, along with instituting universal health care and an end to the squandering of our resources on endless war. Yes, we need new radical parties, which is why I'm here today. And in this election and from now on, we need to stand up for our values, not surrender them, which is why I urge you in this election to vote for the Green Party. I am not willing to surrender every issue I care about to become an accomplice in this moral squalor and death march to extinction. But I'm also not naive enough to tell you we can win. The corporate state has built very effective mechanisms of control and oppression. But these corporate forces have us by the throat, and they have my children by the throat. In the end, I do not fight fascists because I will win. I fight fascists because they are fascists. Thank you.
Interesting. So yeah, definitely not the Marianne take. What I find really interesting about that is, and I'm curious what he would say. In fact, I should have him on. Maybe I'll have him on with you or Marianne or something. But what I find, I guess what I'm curious about is whether or not he thinks that, given that Donald Trump is, as he says, clearly, I mean, I kept expecting for him to say, he kept saying Trump is worse than Biden on everything. I thought, he's like, is he more corrupt? Is he more, I don't even remember now, but I kept waiting for him to say, but is he more, I thought he was going to be like, is he more A? Yes. Is he more B? Yes. Is he more C? No. But he was basically saying Trump is worse than Biden on everything. And yet we shouldn't be voting for Biden. Do you know, I mean, I should have him on instead of making you speak for him. That's because that's very silly. But I'm just curious about whether or not people who think that it's going to make if it's like accelerationist, like we should, it would be better to have Trump than Biden in power because it'll be worse, or if he's just saying, we just got to vote green to not vote these parties.
You should definitely have him on. I'm sure he'd be happy to come on. From what I understand his perspective to be, and I understand that perspective, is kind of like what, as Glenn Greenwald put it, probably a couple months ago, is he said, more and more people are beginning to realize that like every 4 years our choices are worse.
Right.
And, so they're beginning to ask, well, where does this lead us, as a whole? And so looking at it not as like a singular election,
right,
but as a trend, and it's like the strategy that we've been pursuing of, the lesser evil. It's like, all right, the choice we face in this is simultaneously what is enabling the decline overall. And it's now a decline which is accelerating. It's like a free fall. It's a free fall into oligarchy and authoritarianism. And so I very much understand that perspective in that way. And as Glenn said, we need to find the exit. It's like, where's the exit to that, the exit strategy. So that's how I believe, that he sees it. And I can kind of empathize with that perspective, that something needs to be done. Just doing the same thing over and over, will not, lead to the systemic change, because he made the point at one point, which I think is very true. Where did Trump come from?
Yeah.
It's like and of course the Democratic Party has never asked itself that question, but I believe a lot of people.
You don't know, Nick? He came from Russia. Putin gave birth to him out of his brain, like Athena.
And that's
Dude,
right. And,
Athena, yeah.
And the Russian memes. And
exactly.
But Trump was a reaction and result to Obama. Trump was Obama's legacy. If Obama had been, if he had done everything he promised when he ran in 2008, there would have been no Trump. There would have been like people would have installed Obama for like a third term.
Right.
And where did Obama come from? Obama was a reaction to Bush, like an attempt to repudiate what Bush stood for. And so I think that Chris is very much correct is that if Biden was to win, even if he was to win, the counter reaction to Biden, who doesn't even pretend to promise the things that Obama did, would be a much more effective and efficient and ideological fascist. Trump, as I view him, is an opportunist. He's a capitalist. He has no values.
Right.
Next, you would get a real fascist,
like a Tom Cotton or something,
right? Or a Ted Cruz,
right?
Yeah,
both very repugnant. Even more, I don't know how you do it, but somehow they're more repulsive and off-putting than Trump, which is quite the achievement.
Mike Pence is another one. Mike Pence is a terrifying person.
I mean, I would love. I just want to have him president so we can have a first lady / mother. He calls his wife mother.
Pence.
Yeah. He calls his wife mother.
That's so disturbing.
It's so disturbing. But that is the only thing I like about him. It would be great to have a first mother lady.
Nero and the descent of the.
I know. It's so Freudian. It's so Freudian. Let's see. Stay Human says, Chris's message is about power dynamics and climate change. We don't have time to waste on Biden and his fossil fuel fracking BS. I mean, I think that's true. I do think, though, that the counterpoint is like, to the extent that it slows it down at all, we should be buying time. But I guess the idea is that if Trump is in, then we organize and if Trump stays next term, then we organize and get someone really good in. It's not rhetorical. And I don't think I'm being naive, I guess, like in terms of climate change, for instance, though.
I mean, unfortunately, I think that no administration is going to do anything about the climate crisis in the next 4 years, whether it's Trump or Biden. I mean, they just they removed, the fossil fuel.
Right. It's unbelievable.
from the DNC platform, and they just and they did it, of course, with no mandate, and etc. They just said, "Oh, we didn't mean to include that," remove. And so, unfortunately, I just don't think anything's going to happen, And I speak as someone who, volunteered a lot for Obama and then worked on in big part because he said he was going to support a cap and trade, which is already not as good as a carbon tax,
right?
But then he didn't even deliver that, when he had supermajority in Congress. And so I think that what we need to, focus on essentially is what we can do after these 4 years, which is elect a People's Party to replace either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. Because if either one wins, if Trump wins, that's going to be one of the most damning statements about the Democratic Party that I think you can imagine. Is like, so, yes, he's horrible. And so what does it mean that you lost to him not once, but twice? Right. And the second time after he horrifically mismanaged the pandemic, what does that mean? And they are in striking distance, of course, of losing again. And they're following the same playbook that caused them to lose again. And then on the other hand, if Biden wins and offers zero alternative to Trump, very much like Obama offered zero alternative to Bush, then the counter reaction to that, if there is not a major left alternative like a People's Party, is, I believe, fascism. I agree with Chris on that. That's the importance of the work that we're doing, I believe.
Yeah. I think if they lose, it's going to be because the Russians somehow. Again. Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to hear about that for another 4 years.
Yeah. No matter what's happening, we hear about them. Someone asked how a third party works when we don't have a parliamentary. Oh, yes, I agree. Edward quote, Mike Pence is much worse than Trump. Seriously. Yeah. Yeah. He's an ideologue. He believes in end times. He's much more competent. He's not going to galvanize the opposition the way that Trump does, which I think does. I mean, to the extent that maybe he would, but he's, I'm not sure. I mean, Trump has the tweets to distract people from the policy, but someone asked if, and I read a comment that was very funny from Tuna something about how Mother's going to stand between Kamala Harris and Mike Pence in the debates. He can't be around women without his wife being there. That's another rule that Pence says.
Stop telling me.
I know. No more of the personal dynamics.
No more Penceisms.
I know. Someone asked how third party works when it's not parliamentary system.
I guess in Congress is, I suppose, what they're asking. And so Jesse Ventura actually talked about this because he won as governor in a third party in Minnesota, and he was at the People's Convention, also spoke. And he said that he said that in the beginning, he was like the power fulcrum, and the two parties were trying to go to him, for him to side with either one. But then they quickly ganged up on him, and they formed a corporate coalition against him, which is exactly what I believe would happen, when we started getting representation as the People's Party in Congress. Is that if we barred either party from having a majority, they would collaborate in passing their corporate agenda.
Right. Yeah.
But that would further dig their grave, because then people would see, oh, look, there's not it would just be like even more brazenly clear that the distinction isn't there, that they're just one entity.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. And everyone, very interesting comments. It seems like a split among my listeners between, I think it's probably like, looks like 2/3 maybe agree that there isn't a difference between, or that it's not worth voting for Biden over Trump. Maybe half and half. I'm not sure, just based on the comments. But yeah, well, this is great. And are you going to do another MPP or?
You mean like another convention?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, another convention. Yeah.
The next one will be the founding convention in 2021. And we don't have a date for that yet. But we will base it on the different state party formation kind of dates that we are that we're working on right now.
Yeah.
Because the next is to actually start filing in different states and to begin with ballot access.
Yeah. Great. And someone says, Nick, who would you envision as the first ticket to run in 2024? Ocasio-Cortez, Turner?
Oh my God, there's so many good people.
Yeah.
Both of them would be amazing. I mean, like, there's so many great people who could, Nina, AOC, Marianne Williamson. Like, there's going to be a primary, and the primary will decide it. And so people will get to choose.
Right. Yeah. Ending on a totally frivolous matter. Lily, I did talk about Pelosi and her dumbass apology, which was, I didn't do it justice. It was so entitled and weak sauce. But it's a good example of how the Dems are, give Trump endless fodder. And they, of course, vote for all of the worst things that he does. And, the things that they get most upset about are the things that are not as important. All right. And I'm not reading the comments anymore. It's hard. I try to be a good person. Thank you, Lily, for saying that. I think should I just ban? I find people really annoying when they're critical of me. Is that, that doesn't make me, that's not very original, but, and then I want to read their things because I'm so annoyed by them, but I won't do that either. I'm not going to reward bad behavior. All right. Well, yeah, this is very exciting. And where can people find out more about this?
You can find us at peoplesparty.org. And we've had like almost 1,000 volunteers since the convention. It's just been an explosion of enthusiasm and hope. I've never, I haven't kind of like felt this kind of like energy from people since like the beginning of the first Bernie campaign.
Yeah.
Like that level of like, whoa, possibility and like hope. And it's very refreshing. And very rewarding. So come and join us at peoplesparty.org. You can volunteer. We're building hubs across the country, state parties across the country now, and would love to work with you.
Great. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, everyone. Make sure you check out their party, their convention. Follow them. Follow Nick, which is Nick _, right? Nick
Yep.
_Brana, with one N. Become Patreon supporters at patreon.com/The Katie Halper Show. Again, that's patreon.com/The Katie Halper Show. Yes. And again, thanks again so much for putting this together. And I will see you guys Sunday night. Great.
Good chatting with you.
Yeah, you too. Bye. Thanks so much.
Bye.
All right, guys. I'll see you soon. See you soon, guys. See you Sunday when my co-host will be Jack. And some really great guests coming up again are Kasim, Rashid, and Gerald Horn, who's a great historian. And I'm gonna have a debate on here. Definitely want to do that. Okay. Bye, everyone. I would love to interview Ice Cube. Yeah. Thanks for saying you love the way I share my inner dialogue.